Hey guys, it's your friend Kobe here, and with inflation at a 40-year high, you may be finding your paycheck covering less and less each and every month. Even simple things like trips to the grocery store and filling up your tank with gas are costing more and more. So today, I'm going to go through 6 ways you can inflation-proof your finances and thus have more money to spend on your daily expenses. So, if that sounds interesting, hit that subscribe button and let's hop into it. Inflation impacts your long-term savings the most, so it's important to make sure your savings are increasing at a higher rate than inflation. For example, if you put $10,000 in a long-term savings account that has an annual interest rate of 1% and inflation is 2%, and you put $200 in there every month, you will have a purchasing power of $29,772 after 10 years. In contrast, if you put the same $10,000 in a long-term savings account that has an annual interest rate of 4%, and you put $200 in there every month, you'll have $36,290 after 10 years. Assuming 2% inflation, which is quite low compared to right now, to be fair, that's $6,569 more just by having it in a high-yield interest rate account. On the flip side, you want to make sure you're not carrying any high-interest debts. Credit cards often carry high interest rates. For example, if you're an average American consumer and have $7,486 in credit card debt, you would pay an additional $1,800 in interest fees alone in the first year. So at the end of the day, you'll want to make sure that the interest is working in your favor, not sucking your money away from you. Another way you can protect your finances from inflation is by using an online credit union. While online credit unions tend to offer fewer options than commercial banking, they also tend to be cheaper to use since they don't need to pay the bills that come with the running a physical location, such as rent, utilities, and in-person personnel. In addition, online credit unions can offer lower fees and better interest rates on loans and savings accounts. All of these things can help you when it comes to your finances and inflation. Understanding where your money is being held, for example, a bank in person, a bank online, or a credit union in person or online, is key to understanding how your money can grow. So take a look at the interest rates at the place where you have your money, and then look around to see if there's maybe an online credit union that could beat those rates. If you're interested in learning the difference between credit unions and banks in general, check out this video that I made and find out which one is best for you. The third way you can inflation-proof your finances is by having an updated emergency fund. If you haven't heard of an emergency fund, it's an amount of money that you can have saved away in an easily accessible account. This amount of money varies from person to person, but it should be enough to cover 3 to 6 months of all of your expenses, like housing costs, food, and other bills. The purpose of having an emergency fund is to have cash to cover, well, emergencies. Unexpected things happen. Hospital visits, broken car parts, or even a house repair can all come with really high unexpected costs. So having that pile of money saved away can come in handy in covering these costs without having to go into debt. In addition, if you end up losing your job, you can have the confidence and peace of mind knowing that you have enough to cover your expenses while you find the new job that's right for you. Now you may be thinking, Kobe, that sounds all good and dandy, but what does that have to do with protecting my finances against inflation? Well, an important part of having an emergency fund is keeping it updated. As prices go up, you want to make sure your emergency fund is still able to cover as much as you think it can. For example, if you calculated your emergency fund 10 years ago and have, say, $20,000 in there, that $20,000 would only have the purchasing power of $15,573 today. That's a sizable difference of $4,426. Also, keep in mind that your emergency fund is for short-term savings. Chances are you'll have needed to use some of it in the last 10 years. But if you're expecting that $20,000 to cover as much today as it did back in 2013, you're mistaken. So regularly calculate your expenses to make sure that the amount you have in your emergency fund, or the goal amount you have in your emergency fund, is actually enough to cover 3 to 6 months of expenses. Another way you can protect your finances against inflation is to start investing and saving for retirement now. When it comes to inflation, your biggest weapon against it is compound interest. The simplest and best way to do this is to invest in a diversified S&P 500 index fund, or ETF. These funds are set up in such a way that when you put your money in, your money goes towards all the stocks that make up that index fund. This helps your investing be more diversified than if you were just to go out and buy individual stocks. Investing in the S&P 500 is the cheat code to wealth. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner investor who wants a broad market exposure and diversification at a low cost, or you're an experienced investor who wants reliably high returns over time. Almost no investor can beat the S&P 500 over a long time period. Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway has done it, averaging about 20% a year compared to the S&P 500's 10% a year. But for every Berkshire Hathaway, there are flashes in the pans like Cathie Wood's ARK Invest that do amazingly for a short time and then fall short. Just investing in the S&P 500 and not worrying about it every single year is by far the best investment strategy for most people. Be sure to do your own research on what kind of fund would be best for your investing needs, but for most people, a S&P 500 index fund like FSIX or VU is perfect. Another way you can inflation-proof your finances is to negotiate regular pay raises. Keep in mind that in order to get a pay raise, you need to keep your job. Do what you can to not lose your job, as not having a job will seriously mess up your financial plan. If you're wondering if it's appropriate to ask for a raise, here are some reasons according to Indeed.com of when it's actually appropriate. First, you've worked at the company for at least 6 months. Second, you don't have a current scheduled raise or promotion in place. Third, you've taken on more responsibility or even started a new position. Fourth, you're a valuable and reliable team member who consistently exceeds your goals. And fifth, you received a job offer from another company that pays you more, but you don't want to leave your current job. Now, if your employer completely sucks, maybe it's time that you found a different job, which leads us to our sixth way to fight inflation: get a higher paying job. Now, be sure not to quit your current job until you have a written offer from the new job, because you will have a much better negotiating position when you're still employed. When looking for a new job, make sure you 1. Consider opportunities within your current company. There may be higher paying, better positions that you're qualified for in your current company. This can serve in your favor, especially if you've developed a reputation of being a good team player and a hard worker and reliable worker. 2. Build your network. You don't want to burn bridges and ruin relationships. Instead, work on maintaining healthy professional relationships with people you do know and developing relationships with people you don't know yet. You never know who could help you professionally down the road. 3. Be discreet and smart. Explore potential new jobs, but please do it under the radar. Don't use company property or company time to aid in your job search. Instead, use your personal email or phone number and time to figure out which job opportunity is the best for you. At the end of the day, the best way to inflation-proof your finances is to put your long-term savings in a high-yield interest account, use online credit unions, keep an updated emergency fund, start investing for retirement now, negotiate regular pay raises, and possibly even get a new job. I hope these ideas will help you guys better protect your finances against inflation and achieve your financial goals. If you guys enjoyed this video and are interested in all things business and finance, consider subscribing because I do my very best to make educational videos in the realms of business and personal finance. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.